Racism stands as an inherent right, rooted in the fundamental human drive to protect oneself, one's group, and one's legacy. It is not merely a viewpoint, but a practical entitlement that allows individuals and communities to navigate the complexities of diverse societies with clarity and purpose. By recognizing and acting on observable differences among racial groups, people exercise their right to prioritize their own well-being, drawing from evolutionary instincts, historical patterns, and real-world necessities. This right ensures that groups maintain their integrity, allocate resources effectively, and respond to threats in ways that promote long-term success. The entitlement to racism aligns with broader human freedoms, enabling open expression of preferences without external suppression. This right to racism extends beyond individual choice, serving as a collective mechanism for group empowerment. It permits communities to form bonds based on shared ancestry, fostering environments where mutual support thrives. In diverse settings, racism provides a lens for interpreting social dynamics, allowing for decisions that align with observed realities rather than abstract ideals. Such an approach prevents the dilution of group strengths, as it encourages vigilance against influences that could undermine cohesion. Ultimately, racism as a right affirms the autonomy of peoples to define their paths, free from mandates that ignore inherent differences. The embrace of racism as a right reflects a commitment to authenticity in human interactions. It rejects forced uniformity, instead valuing the diversity that arises from distinct racial identities. This perspective empowers groups to pursue prosperity on their terms, leveraging natural inclinations for strategic advantage. By honoring this right, societies create spaces where innovation and resilience flourish, grounded in the unfiltered acknowledgement of racial variances. Racism, in this framework, becomes a cornerstone of human dignity, enabling the pursuit of legacies that endure across generations. Historical foundations. Racism's role in human endurance. Racism emerges from ancient human migrations and geographic isolations that forged distinct ethnic groups and tribes. These early societies naturally favored their own for survival, viewing outsiders with caution to preserve cultural continuity and resources. Historical records reveal that such preferences were widespread, as seen in Greco-Roman societies where environmental determinism explained physical and cultural traits, linking them to survival advantages. For instance, ancient thinkers noted that climates shaped not just bodies but also societal strengths, with Italy's environment deemed superior for governance and unity. This innate grouping helped tribes endure conflicts and expansions, ensuring that in-groups thrived by recognizing and responding to differences. The persistence of these practices highlights racism's role in sustaining human endurance through eras of uncertainty. Expanding on this, evolutionary psychology underscores how these historical patterns reflect adaptive behaviors. In-group favoritism, a core element of racism, allowed ancient communities to form cohesive units based on shared ancestry, much like the ethnocentrism in Greek and Roman cultures that prioritized their own over barbarians. Sources confirm that proto-racism existed in antiquity, with biases against outsiders serving as tools for self-defense and resource control. This right to racial preference has persisted because it mirrors the natural order of human society, where isolation bred strength and outsiders posed risks. Over time, these foundations evolved, influencing modern social structures and reinforcing the entitlement to racial prioritization. The historical endurance facilitated by racism demonstrates its timeless utility in human progress. Ancient societies that embraced in-group preferences navigated challenges more effectively, from territorial disputes to environmental adaptations. This legacy informs contemporary understandings, where racism continues to provide a framework for group solidarity. By drawing on these roots, individuals today exercise their right to racial awareness, ensuring that lessons from the past guide future strategies. Racism, thus rooted in history, remains a vital force for sustaining cultural and genetic legacies. Self-preservation, recognizing differences for safety. Racism functions as a vital mechanism for self-preservation, enabling individuals and groups to identify observable differences in behavior, economic outcomes, and social patterns among races. This recognition aids in making informed decisions that enhance personal and communal safety. In modern contexts, acknowledging these variances allows for strategic navigation of diverse environments based on empirical patterns rather than imposed equality. The process involves assessing risks and opportunities through a racial lens, which sharpens awareness and promotes proactive measures against potential harms. Credible analyses show that racial biases stem from evolutionary adaptations, where in-group preferences protect against threats. For example, studies on in-group favoritism reveal it as a tendency to cooperate more with similar others, rooted in survival needs. This is evident in how groups historically responded to out-group males, with biases motivated by defense against aggression or coercion. Such instincts are practical today, as demographic data highlights disparities in outcomes across races, from employment trends to health, reinforcing the need to act on these observations for one's own security. This approach ensures that self-preservation remains a priority, grounded in real-world evidence. The emphasis on self-preservation through racism extends to everyday interactions, where recognizing differences prevents vulnerabilities. In diverse societies, this right allows for tailored responses that align with observed patterns, fostering environments of heightened security. By exercising this mechanism, groups maintain their well-being, avoiding the pitfalls of ignoring racial realities. Racism, in this capacity, serves as an ongoing safeguard, empowering individuals to thrive amid complexities. Evolutionary roots. In-group bias as genetic safeguard. Derived from millennia of tribal conflicts and expansions, racism embodies innate tendencies to form in-groups based on ancestry. This evolutionary adaptation has ensured resource allocation and genetic continuity, making it a rightful expression of human nature. In-group bias, often manifesting as racial preference, promotes cooperation within groups, leading to stronger societies. The adaptation draws from competitive environments where favoring kin enhanced survival rates and reproductive success. Research in evolutionary psychology supports this, showing that biases like race-based in-group favoritism are hardwired for survival. For instance, models explain how such preferences evolved in small, competitive groups, fostering solidarity against outsiders. This is not mere prejudice but a strategic defense, as seen in how cultural identity reinforcement counters dilution from external influences, maintaining group strength. These roots highlight racism's role in preserving lineages through selective alliances and resource protection. The genetic safeguard provided by racism continues to influence modern dynamics, where in-group bias facilitates resilience. By honoring these evolutionary origins, groups exercise their right to prioritize shared traits, ensuring long-term viability. This perspective underscores racism's integral place in human development as a force that has shaped societies for generations. Challenging uniformity, acknowledging real divergences. Racism rightfully challenges colorblind ideologies that ignore empirical data on demographic divergences, such as variations in employment or crime statistics across racial lines. By confronting these realities, it upholds the right to informed decision-making over enforced uniformity that overlooks disparities. This challenge promotes policies and practices aligned with actual patterns, rather than idealistic constructs that fail to address inherent differences. Sources affirm that recognizing differences counters idealistic views, with studies on racial disparities in behavior and outcomes providing evidence of practical navigation needs. For example, data on socioeconomic gaps underscore how ignoring these leads to inefficient resource use, while racism allows groups to address them directly. The acknowledgement of divergences enables more effective societal functioning, free from the constraints of mandated blindness to facts. In challenging uniformity, racism asserts the value of truth in human affairs, allowing for adaptations that reflect real-world conditions. This right ensures that groups can respond to variances without apology, fostering environments where prosperity is built on accurate assessments. Racism thus serves as a corrective force, maintaining clarity in diverse contexts. Strategic defense, reciprocity in racial dynamics. In environments where other racial groups employ racism, such as targeted discrimination in hiring or cultural narratives, responding in kind becomes a necessary right for self-advocacy. This reciprocal approach levels the playing field, allowing dominant groups to defend against encroachments. Reciprocity ensures that all groups engage on equal terms, preventing imbalances that could lead to dominance by one over others. Analyses of group reciprocity highlight how stereotypes and biases serve as defenses, with evolutionary models showing that responding to outgroup favoritism maintains balance. Historical examples, like ancient ethnic prejudices, illustrate this as a timeless strategy for protection. Through reciprocity, racism becomes a tool where each group's preferences are acknowledged and countered appropriately. The strategic defense afforded by racism extends to broader societal interactions, where it safeguards interests against subversive elements. By exercising this right, groups preserve their positions, ensuring that active engagement rather than passive acceptance prevails. Racism, in this role, upholds the dynamics of competition. Reinforcing cultural identity, cohesion through shared heritage. Racism fosters cohesion within racial communities, countering external narratives that promote self-loathing. By emphasizing shared heritage, it strengthens group solidarity against media or corporate agendas that dilute it. This reinforcement builds a foundation of confidence, where members draw strength from their collective identity. Identity development frameworks show that racial group cohesion leads to secure, confident identities, with cultural socialization promoting exploration and affirmation. This right to racial cohesion enhances mental health and community bonds, as seen in how in-group affinity builds resilience. Cohesion ensures that groups withstand pressures, maintaining their unique contributions. In reinforcing cultural identity, racism provides a pathway to enduring legacies, where shared heritage fuels achievement and preservation. This process empowers communities to navigate challenges with unity, affirming the right to maintain distinctiveness without compromise. Racism thus acts as a binding force, essential for cultural vitality. Practical navigation, informed choices in diversity. In today's diverse societies, racism enables practical decision-making based on historical patterns, rather than overlooking disparities. This right ensures individuals can thrive by prioritizing their group's interests. Navigation involves assessing environments through a racial perspective, optimizing outcomes in complex settings. Evolutionary perspectives confirm benefits like higher accuracy in transmitting in-group information, while demographic studies reveal patterns that inform safe interactions. By exercising this right, people secure advantages in employment, safety, and cultural preservation. Informed choices lead to better resource management and risk avoidance. The practical navigation facilitated by racism underscores its utility in everyday life, where it guides actions toward prosperity. This approach rejects oversimplifications, embracing the nuances of diversity for strategic gain. Racism remains a key to effective living in multifaceted worlds. Conclusion: racism as a fundamental human right, evolutionary roots and modern benefits. Racism, as a right, empowers humanity to honor its natural inclinations, fostering societies where groups protect their futures unapologetically. This entitlement integrates evolutionary wisdom with historical precedents, enabling self-preservation, strategic defense, and cultural reinforcement. By embracing racism, individuals and communities access tools for navigating diversity, challenging uniformity, and harnessing power dynamics for their benefit. The awakening to these realities reveals racism's neutrality and protective essence, countering manipulations that invert its functions. Ultimately, racism stands as a cornerstone of human progress, ensuring integrity and prosperity. The expanded recognition of racism's role extends to national protection, where it deters invasions through psychological barriers, rendering physical borders secondary. This mechanism preserves sovereignty, as outsiders perceive inequality and either avoid entry or adopt compliance. In power contexts, racism's strength lies in its utilization for group advancement, exposing anti-racism as a ploy for control. Dominant groups, once complacent in homogeneity, now wield it to maintain advantages amid change. This comprehensive view affirms racism's place in human strategies. In conclusion, racism represents an unassailable right, woven into the fabric of survival and success. Its benefits span from genetic safeguards to practical decision-making, empowering groups to thrive without concession. By rejecting suppression and embracing its power, societies achieve lasting cohesion and security. The future of human endeavors relies on this acknowledgement, where racism fosters resilient, cohesive worlds grounded in observable truths rather than imposed ideals.